He is the most hideous dancer I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was horrible, and this guy was sweating all over me. Like, his sweat was like, it was raining.
Welcome back everybody to Political X. If you're enjoying all of these videos, be sure to make sure you click that subscribe button, especially if this is your second video. And we're back with more on Virginia Giuffre, Dershowitz, Prince Andrew, and Epstein and Maxwell. News story after news story after news story is coming out at the moment. We had Ian Maxwell, we've now had Alan Dershowitz, and more revelations have come out about Prince Andrew. In my last video, I made predictions that Virginia Giuffre's lawyers would be using some of the interview as evidence against Prince Andrew. And lo and behold, I've been proven correct. And it revolves around Prince Andrew's claims about not being able to sweat.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was. Oh, actually, yes. I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. And I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat.
Well, as it turns out, and I think most of us suspected this, total nonsense. The lawyers of Virginia Giuffre, according to the Times and several other newspapers, have come out and said, the Duke of York cannot provide documentary evidence that he has the inability to sweat. His lawyers have said, despite it being a reposit against his claims, he had sex with a teenager. One of the other arguments that Andrew gave for not being with Virginia Giuffre was that he was at Pizza Express, and he remembers it clearly. Have a listen.
You know that you were at home with the children. Was it a memorable night?
On that particular day that we now understand that is the date, which is the 10th of March, I was at home. I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at I suppose sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Why would you remember that so specifically? Why would you remember a Pizza Express birthday and being at home? Because
going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do. A very unusual thing for me to do. I've only been through Woking a couple of times, and I remember it weirdly distinctly. But as soon as somebody reminded me of it, I went, oh yes, I remember that.
This backfired on him on so many reasons. I mean, one, the arrogance of making a statement like that. But also, according to Virginia Giuffre's lawyers, Prince Andrew is also unable to name any witnesses to support his alibi that he was in Pizza Express in Woking on the night he was accused of having sex with Virginia Roberts, now Giuffre, in 2001 when she was 17. And it's particularly strange because we know that princes, queens, kings, and all the rest have a security escort with them that record all events attended. There is a log that should be available to the Americans. But it also means that Andrew doesn't have any of these alibis that he's been claiming in his videos. This man is in deep, deep trouble. And as I predicted, this interview would come back to haunt him. And this man has made several other claims in that just made or added little sense to the story he was telling about partying or anything else.
I never have really partied. And I've never really felt the need to go and party. One of which is that I don't know where the bar is in Tramps. I don't drink. I don't think I've ever bought a drink in Tramps.
Personally, I think Andrew's days are numbered. I can't see how he's going to get out of this, and he just seems to have dug himself a huge hole by being really arrogant. Not just in the interview, but being arrogant enough to think that all he needed to do was an interview to get out of this mess. Would love to know your thoughts on all of this. It's pretty compelling stuff. He can't prove his own alibis, which he said on national TV. The final thing I'm curious about is the public's funding these people. They're funding the Duke of York. It's not looking good. Should we be funding them? Love to hear your thoughts on that as well. I hope you enjoyed my political observations this week. If you'd like to support me, please share the video with others and post about it on social media. If you're keen for more, subscribe, comment, like, and hit that notification button. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on Political X.